Okay. Before we get started, look at these cute pillows. Yes. Did we have these decorations in the last episode?
We did. We just
Okay.
didn't have
Never mind.
the pillows, so it couldn't have been solidified. But yes,
Right.
it's fall time.
Look at the setup.
The setup. We got little pumpkins, and
Mhm.
now we have official pillows.
I was supposed to make Ducky a shield.
Do you want to do that?
No, it's okay.
You sure?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's fine. Welcome back to Beyond the Film Pod. What?
What?
To who?
Who are we?
Welcome back to Beyond the Film Podcast.
Here we go.
I am Rose with a weird feeling throat.
Oh, and I'm Meadow. My throat feels fine. Sorry, Rosie. I wish I could transfer you the goodness.
Oh, me too. Anyways, this week we're taking a little break from the Spider-Mans. We watched Captain America. This is like one of my favorite people of all time.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have a blast this episode. I'm so excited.
Such a good time.
All right, let's dive right into this jam.
Tell me what you're thinking,
B?
please.
Okay, first off,
B.
like we were saying, we've said all the ages. Chris was 30
Oh, okay.
when he filmed this movie.
I want to know whose body they used in the first half of
No, really, I wrote that down. We're gonna get into that. I just want to know, like, this also goes with this character too that I didn't realize. He's a lot younger than like the other actors and characters that we've seen so far. Like,
right, because
Tony was older.
Yeah.
Our DJ older.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew was older. Even actually, I think they're the same age.
Well, yeah, you said that he was like maybe 32 or something.
Yeah.
So close. I am curious to know, like, when it comes to the Avengers cast, what's the age ranges there? So
we'll get into that.
Okay.
Last episode of the season. We'll get into that.
Make sure you
make it a special one.
Ooh.
Okay. So, getting right into it. Last couple of times we've talked about the intros of the movies, like how they made us feel, like if it was a grabber. I thought this intro was amazing.
Yeah.
I ate it up.
What was your favorite parts about it?
Like the whole, like going into like the little ship when they're like, what is this? It's an airplane. No, like, first of all.
Dude, okay. So I'm so glad that you said that, because the whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, I don't remember it being an intro like Spider-Man. Like, I'm trying to remember it like that, but no, like, you're right. Their intro was like,
it was, yes,
like
dude.
Kiss.
And then they wiped the little thing.
This one's been waiting long enough.
And they were like, you're gonna want to see this, call right now. Like, it was
the reveal of the plane, like the size of it, the scope of it. Yeah, it was really, really good. And obviously we can see, like, as Marvel is progressing through their movies and like learning,
they're getting better and better.
They're getting better and better, just like us guys.
Every single day, every single 2 weeks. You read it there? Okay. All right. Anyways, and then going off of like how good the intro is, I feel like the details they put into this movie were so good. Like the camera shots they did and the editing that they did. Yeah. And just like the director and the writers, like they ate with this movie. Like I was just gassing this movie up the whole time. We're like, I see
this y'all
that.
Bread and butter right here.
Y'all did amazing over there. So I'm gonna come back to that point as we like go through the movie, all the small little stuff that I saw.
Okay.
First one I saw.
Yes.
The zoom in on the Hydra symbol on the car. In the next scene when
he's at the
Smith is at the place or whatever.
Yeah,
I was like, hey,
tesseract.
Making sure that you know, like, hey, this symbol is important. Like, we're gonna see this again. Like, keep this in mind.
And then, like, also just a side note to crazy reality where freaking Hitler and the Nazis, they had this whole division of like scientists and stuff, and to the point where they're making and branding cars. Wild.
Yeah, I get into that too.
But please continue the little things that you saw.
And then I thought that, I don't think they ever gave us his name, but like the old bearded guy in there,
the Guardian Man.
Yeah, I felt like he sounded very similar to an Asgardian. Like he could have fit in the Thor movie. And I don't know if that was intentional. Maybe that's just like a Norwegian accent.
Yeah, I feel like they wanted a Norwegian person, like an accent that would like be similar to what we would hear in Asgard, possibly because of like he has the special job of guarding the tesseract. Like he obviously has some kind of pull and like relationship with Odin and like just the Norse godship. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
But like, why him? Like, he's not magical. He didn't even man died like 5.5 seconds. Like he ain't do nothing.
Perhaps it was like generational, you know, passing down through the families. Like maybe
and he's the one to lose it.
Maybe like they have powers, but you know, it just kept getting diluted, and then he didn't have none, crazy. And so
he need to talk to Doctor Strange about that.
He can't talk no more. Doctor Strange is probably, I don't know, not born yet, maybe.
Yeah, I think you're correct. I think you're correct. I forgot this was back in time.
Yeah.
Right on the nose there. Speaking of how Schmidt, he's either like really smart or like he's really obsessed or like both, because how did he find that so easily? Yeah. Like he looked at the wall, he was like, this button.
Like there was no So I feel like it is a combination of his obsession and smartness. Like he is figuring out puzzles because obviously he's the head of this science division. And then 2, he is been studying this mythology and like studying all of these things because I saw that as like the snake. Like I equated that to Loki. And I was like, you know, this is the god of trickery, of illusion, mischief. So it's like, why wouldn't this be the one to unlock the box? And then like also relating that to Loki into Asgard, like the whole reason why the Tesseract gets resurfaced and gets in the hands of S.H.I.E.L.D. is because Schmidt takes it out of this hiding spot. Because like fast forwarding into the movie, it drops down into the ocean and like that's how they find it, and that's how it gets in the hands of S.H.I.E.L.D., and that's how Loki gets it.
That's so interesting because literally if I was there, I would just like press the whole wall.
Just been like massaging. Probably would have went over the button like 2 times.
Where is it?
I probably would have took the one inside the casket.
But that one wasn't glowing.
How am I supposed to know it's supposed to glow?
You would have used your noggin.
Oh, you
too easy. Okay, another small detail that we see in the same scene when he's like, you will burn, he's like, I already have, and then like his jaw twitches and I saw that and I was like,
his face mask is coming off.
And like he literally did already burn. So like the play on words of the foreshadowing, so good. And then I don't know why they did this, but they zoom in on his Hydra pen and the blood that's on it. And that has to be for some symbolism.
I feel like it's just that, you know, Hydra about their business. They gonna spill some blood for their cause.
Their own too.
Not afraid.
Yeah, insane. Okay. One thing I will say, especially like rewatching the movies and like I feel like I'm kind of watching them for the first time because my memory sucks.
You know? Like
but like when it comes to this movie and thinking about it in release order, like the timeline of the Tesseract doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay, please continue.
Because it's so with this timeline in mind, the Tesseract is on Asgard and then they bring it to Earth. And then it's back on Asgard and Thor.
No, literally.
And then it's back on Earth.
Because Thor is during Iron Man 2.
so in chronological order, Thor is after Captain America. That's how they put it.
Correct. Yes. But I was just trying to place the timeline of Thor. So the timeline of Thor.
Yes, it's during. Isn't it?
It's like happening in conjunction with Iron Man 2.
He leaves during 2? I thought he left during 1.
Who, Coulson?
Yeah. See, I already forgot.
That's during 2.
Gotta go rewatch that episode.
And we know it's during 2 because Rhodey has switched.
Okay.
Yes. So, words. What was I saying? Rhodey has been switched, and it's freaking
the tesseract. Yes, Thor. The tesseract. Yes,
and yes. Coulson left during the second one. So
yes, and we see the tesseract in the room,
relic room.
Yes,
and okay, no, because I was gonna say like, what if that was like a flashback to when not Odin, but Thor and Loki were little kids, but I feel like I saw it in the room like when it passed by like the inauguration day when the wall had opened up and all that good jazz. So yeah, I'm confused as to how it got back to Asgard, because if during the 1940s it was
in the ocean and they found it
even before then though, so like not even in the 1940s, it had to be like earlier than
it was in the wall.
To be in the wall, exactly.
Yeah.
Who put it in the wall?
And
how did it get there? Yeah. Why was it there?
On Earth all that time, like through Howard Stark and all that stuff, and then just magically went back to Asgard, like just to come back to Earth. Unless we're remembering incorrectly. Yes, the timeline doesn't make sense. Especially for release. Especially release order doesn't make sense, and then like when they put it in chronological order, doesn't make sense. Maybe like, this is just like
about having to factor in Captain Marvel, like
which is after Captain America.
Yeah, so like
maybe there's just a gap that they missed, like they messed up.
Maybe because there was the first couple movies trying to get it all figured out. Perhaps, yeah.
So sorry.
We'll be back with more answers about this. I would love to like look this up and see if someone else was like figuring this out. Like
I was like, we're not gonna figure this out. I don't know what answers we're gonna give.
No, yeah, we're gonna look it up and then give you the answer someone else has already.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Now we can get into Tiny Steve. So when I first watched this movie, like for the very first time, I was like, damn, like this CGI like it's so good. And then like rewatching it this time, I was like, in the beginning, I was like, damn, like this does eat. Like Steve looks great. And then as it keeps going, I'm like, actually, it's not that good.
Yeah, like there were some parts like, wow, like that's so good. But no, I literally commented on how I thought the CGI was so good when it first came out. And like not even talking about Steve on that skinny body, but like the scene where he was running after the Nazi that was in the cab, like you can tell that the background was CGI so bad. I was like, dang, I really thought this was
it ate.
But no, yeah. When I first seen it, I was like, I didn't even know that it was CGI when I first seen it for his body. I was like, dang, like how did they make him get taller? Like I was so confused as to how they did that. And then because like I literally thought that the skinny one was him like IRL, and then I found out that the buff one was him IRL. I was like, oh, right.
And I wrote down like, who did they use for this body? Like imagine getting cast just for Tiny Steve's body
and like to be scrawny and shirtless the whole time. Got the bag though.
Period. Continuously getting those residuals. But the thing that made me notice it wasn't good is because when you see his face, you can kind of see that it's like cut out. It's like part soft, of his
and like his head partially looks too big for his body. It's like but like you know they did their dance or whatever. They got
for what they
across.
had.
Yeah.
Okay. Another small little thing where like the director ate in the scene where he's getting beat up, he uses the trash lid as a shield.
Dude, they were foreshadowing his shield like throughout they just kept doing it.
Yeah.
It was the garbage can. It was the taxi door. Like, and the taxi door literally had a star on it.
Oh, I didn't see the star, but I did see. Yeah, I wrote down the taxi door too.
Yeah, like it literally had a red star right in the center. I'm just like they letting us know
they ate. Because all these small details, like when you first watch, you don't think about it because you don't know what you're anticipating.
Exactly.
But then that's why it's good to like rewatch movies. I feel like good ones because you can like, go back and go back and see everything. Okay, and so now we're at when Steve is like trying to get into the army.
Wait, before you start that, I wanted to question, because I asked this question when I first saw the foreshadowing of the shield. Like, boom, usage of the shield. Then I was like, shield, that's the name of the situation. Did shield already have its name before Captain America?
Yes. Okay. They got a name. Oh wait, I forgot this is in the past. No.
So that's, I'm like,
there's still the long version, the safety home whatever hoopla.
Yeah, whatever shield stands for.
Yeah, they still go by that.
Interesting.
Oh wait, no.
Like, are they even a thing yet?
There is no shield.
Exactly.
Because Peggy and Howard create shield after Captain America.
And Agent Carter, right?
Yes.
And so, like, that makes me wonder, like, did they name shield
after Cap?
Yeah, because of like what he does.
I would say no, because they didn't call it shield until Tony.
Correct. And then that also like is like a double entendre, because it's like shield because they're protecting like the whole Yao Ming, and that's like what that's what the acronym also stands for.
Safety, home,
invasion, Earth,
extraterrestrial, land division.
Right. Okay, continue. Okay. Steve is trying to get into the army.
Yeah, he's trying to get into the army. And I'm just curious why he doesn't lie about his medical records.
Yeah, that's
because you can lie to get out of the army. So I feel like it should be as easy to get into the army and lie. So I feel like, is there like an honor system that Steve has that goes into part of him like being, you know, the man that he is?
Like, perhaps because like he's not afraid to lie about where he's from.
Exactly.
So I'm like, yeah, I was confused about that as well. It's like, okay, is this just automatic information that they're getting like passed along, or it's like I'm confused.
Is it that hard to lie during a physical though? Like
maybe it's harder to pretend you don't have asthma than it is to pretend you do got asthma. You know, you can't fake breathing if you just really can't breathe.
You really can't breathe. Oh, that's funny. But I also like when I question this. Okay, we're starting to see like the small traits of why Steve is Captain America and not why the serum made him Captain America, which is a very strong thing we see in Phase 5
later on.
Yeah.
And like, not even to get into all of that, but like just talking about this movie, they really do emphasize that like Captain America is Captain America because Steve is who Steve is. And
they do it early on too. Like they do it before the serum to make sure we know Steve's character, like him covering the bomb.
Him like, even like he notices, first of all, in the movie theater scene, I didn't even notice at first when I watched this the lady crying.
Yeah.
And then so like when I watched it again, I'm like, dang, that baby girl is over there crying, and it's like
her husband or her father's probably in the war.
An empty seat next to her, like she probably bought a ticket. Sad. And so yeah, like Steve, first of all, how did they even get out there? Like, did he willingly go out? Like, okay,
probably.
You right. We should go fight. Like, what? No, I'm gonna stay here and watch the movie. You go out there and fight yourself.
No, he probably like didn't want to make a scene. He's like, okay, let's take this outside. So he took it outside, and like early on, you see him say, like, I can do this all day. Like, that's not a Cap saying. That's a
struggling.
That's a Steve saying. Oh, dude. Oh my goodness. Yes. And then we get introduced to my man's James Barnes.
James Bucky Barnes.
First of all, they're both my mans. Chris Evans, Sebastian Stan. Oh my god.
Andrew Garfield.
Oh my god. This is just like my month. This is just. Anyways, I did not know his name was James.
Anyways. Oh my goodness. Right. Yeah. His name is James.
I never knew his name was James. I thought his name was Bucky Barnes. Isn't it like James Bucky Barnes?
It's like
or James Buck Barnes? Or...
Yeah, like it's James something Barnes.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
I thought I wrote it down somewhere.
His full name?
Yeah, probably not. Was when you said full name, that definitely doesn't ring a bell. Anyway, though.
But yeah. I feel like this is the first time we're introduced to a pure and real best friendship.
Because what we were saying before,
trash. Ain't it?
Ain't it at all.
But James and Steve are like the definition of best friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like James always has Steve's back, no matter what. When he was small, when he was big, like the scene.
Never treated him with any less than respect.
No, like the scene towards the middle when he's like, "No, I'm not going without you." Like, okay, like, baby, damn.
That was so sweet, bro.
And then like vice versa too. Like went back into the trenches for his boy.
Like didn't even know for sure if he was alive. But he's like, I'm not about to take your chance of like, oh, the name sound familiar. Like, can you let me see his
Let me see the body. Yeah. Like, if it's not there, Steve
go by the same rules.
Steve knew.
He knew. If I don't see a dead body, he not dead.
He not.
Okay, and all
which
of us.
We.
Okay.
They're like, why don't they finish the sentence?
You know why? They speak in our language.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I said all that already.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, yes, true. If you wanna best friendship so far, the best pair of friends are James and Steve.
Yeah,
I think the only people, if we're like looking forward, that could match that would be Peter and Ned.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. And I also want to say that like,
or Clint and Natasha.
Like that's so stinking cute. Mm-hmm. I love them together. But Thor and his group of besties, like they, like it's alright.
It's alright.
But like you know, it's better than Iron Man and
it is better, Brody. But they're not besties.
No,
like they're just friends. Yeah, yeah. Thor doesn't seem like he has a best friend.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Why is that, Thor?
Maybe we can get into that in Thor 2.
Let's see.
All right. So we are introduced to Howard Stark, who, if you see Iron Man beforehand, you're like, Howard Stark? Oh, Tony's father?
Oh my
His dead daddy is not dead.
Not yet. Not even a daddy yet.
True. Ain't even got a girl. He is a flirt, Mr. Howard.
Like, I was, when I was seeing him at his, expo, because, like, I was just like, wow, Tony is so similar to his father, like, in so many different ways. You're having the expo. You got the girls coming out dancing. You're flirting and kissing the girls on stage. Like, literally like carbon copy.
Ducky, please tell us. That's a great point. No, I didn't even realize that. That's crazy. No, keep going. Wow. Yeah. No, you killed that. No. Thank you.
Bucky. I mean, Ducky.
All right. Yes, Howard and Tony are definitely father and son.
Like, and apple did not fall from the tree.
So interesting because Tony doesn't know that. Like, he never knows that, and like whenever someone tries to talk to him about Howard, he's like, no, you're lying. I wonder if Howard knows. Like, I wonder if he knew as Tony was growing up how similar they are to each other.
Possibly.
Because it seems like, he was kind of absent, but like he did everything for it. He's such a weird father.
He's very strange. And like based off of based off of what I saw of him in this movie and like in Agent Carter, I would have thought that he would have been like a much more caring father, but we don't really get to know Howard Stark. Like, we don't get to know how he was parented and like the relationships that he had with his parents and his father, which obviously will be very important and play into how he is with Tony. Mm-hmm. And like possibly he was seeing himself in Tony, and so he was trying to give Tony that kind of tough love that would cause him to like be be better than he was.
Also, I only watched like half of the first episode of Agent Carter, so I have no idea what that show's about. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it'd also be interesting to see like the mother, like how he met her, how their relationship was beforehand. Like, was it an actual relationship, or was it one of those like trophy wife type relationships?
Like, yeah, like I would like to know what's really going on with
and then Howard. Also to see like the transition of how like it went sour per se. Speaking of transitions, the transition from Howard's invention or like his focus on what's going on, like at the expo, I feel like you would get the impression that Howard does inventions. Like he likes to create things, like the car that was floating, whatever, and he does like weapons too on the side, you know, to pay the bills for the invention. Pay the bills. But I feel like after like the whole war and like after he found the tesseract, he feel like he transitioned to like focusing only on weapons, because I feel like at least in Iron Man we don't hear about any like, oh, Howard invented this, like this is Howard's invention. And I'm very curious how he went from the tesseract to arc reactor as a transition as well.
Well, he probably just saw and recognized the tesseract as like this power source that could be tapped into anything, and like got into weapons partly because of the Cold War, because it's just not the Cold War but World War II, where they're like, Hydra's over here making weapons with these, so like we need to step something up, do something, which intrigues me
because they didn't use the tesseract,
like not in that kind of sense, and they didn't start even like dabbling in things like that until like Avengers, which is a little bit of a spoiler because we don't find that out until later in Avengers. But nonetheless, yeah,
maybe he knew like this power can be great, but like it's too much for the average person. Like, imagine that in the hands of the government. Maybe he knew, like he kept it to himself for a reason.
Yeah,
because even when he found it in the end, it wasn't like, oh, like I found the cube. No, it was like, keep looking, like I want to find my friend.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think that's interesting. I feel like they don't give us enough of Howard Stark. Did you watch the whole Agent Carter series?
I watched into season 2. I don't remember finishing it, but they don't really like get into his character like that deep. It's more so about Peggy and like her adventures and what's going on with her and like things of that nature. But yeah, I definitely think that it would be important and interesting to get more information about Howard, because they make Tony such an important character, and they make his relationship with his father issues. And like, or you know, the lack thereof of that relationship. And it's like, maybe they did that on purpose, like keep him a mystery. Like we know as much as Tony knows, and like we may know just maybe a little bit more to like wonder why. But
that's good. Stay with that, bro. Okay, now we can touch on like the idea of tying history with fiction, which I feel like Marvel likes to do a lot. Like I feel like some people find it important so like the audience can relate a little more to like tie history with fiction, tie what's going on with the real world with what's going on now. Like in current, I want to say in current films, they tied in COVID.
Yes.
But, like, just, like, briefly mentioned it. But, like, to still make it seem like, hey, like, this is still reality in a sense.
I feel like something got said around there. But, yeah, definitely later on in the phases, even with, like, being 5 years in the future.
So, yeah, I feel like My brain's saying I noticed it with Kate, with Hawkeye. But yeah, I feel like, yeah, some directors or like some writers find it important so like the audience can relate to the film in some aspect, but it's still not reality. Like, it's not fact. It's still fiction.
I think that, yeah, for Marvel movies, they do make a point to do that, mixing our reality in with, you know, the fictional things to make the story interesting. And I think that they did Hydra and, like, you know, that situation I think they did a really good job at executing that, because, like, obviously this is completely fictional. There was no Hydra that we know of. But just like something so, I want to say magical, but I feel like that's not the word, as a symbol for that division. Like, I feel like that's just not something that would happen in this reality. Calling something Hydra. And also, side note, why was it like an octopus if it was Hydra? Like, a Hydra is a water serpent creature that has like 3 different heads. The pin did not have 3 different heads. It just had a body and a bunch of legs.
Oh, see, I was thinking like a snake. Like a mythical snake. Cut off one head, 2 grow in its place. Or like, you know, like the medieval dogs.
I know what you're talking about. Cerberus.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, my brain went to snake. Also, yeah, I never thought about that.
Like,
maybe you cut off one tentacle to grow in its place.
And it's like, okay, cool, but like, why are you called Hydra? Like, I guess maybe it's Hydra because of the concept, but like, still, that's not a Hydra. But hey, I don't know.
Right. I was gonna say something while you were talking, and I forgot my point.
While we're, you know, taking this little pause though, and like talking about Steve's character, like, he really is like a true red-blooded American. Like, I feel like he is the poster child of all the good that America claims to foster and like create, especially like during this time. Like, you know, stand up for your country, stand up for what's right. We don't like bullies, this, that, and the third. Like, that's the whole reason why they're fighting Germany in the first place. Like, Hitler's being a big old bully, so they're just like,
see, this is literally my point right after one point, but we're on the same page. Like,
tell me.
I wrote down, like, as I was watching this movie, I was like, personally, me, with, you know, the color of my skin and the race that I am, the sex that I am, I don't understand personally the passion and like the patriotism, whatever, to want to fight for your country so bad and like willing to die for your country, especially with Hydra and everything. Like, you get caught, you're dead. Like, those people who were flying on the bombs at the end, they're gonna die.
No, literally, like, that's what okay, so just to take a little pause here, literally, I was like, those look like kamikaze bombing situations. Yes. But then when Steve decided to fly it into the plane, it didn't blow up. So that's what made me confused.
Maybe you had to like press a button or something.
Maybe. But then like also in the scene literally right before that, everything was blowing up. Like, he ran his motorcycle into a door and it blew up. Like, that wouldn't happen in real life. Like, a big steel door like, this is the top science division. They can't build a door that's not gonna like be demolished.
They had special bombs everywhere, and they were only used certain times. When that agent was in the room, and like we had to zoom in on like the square box. I'm like, what kind of bomb is that, bro? And then the bomb in the car out of nowhere when she was firing at the car. When did you have time to put a bomb in there? Like what?
And then, bro, to go back to that scene, Steve like saves her, pushed her out of the way. She's like, I was gonna get him. Girl, he was about to run you down. Like, he was about to be roadkill.
She was a great shot though. That first one, headshot. No, like
okay, Peggy. What?
The second
one? What do they teach you in the
UK? But that first one,
yeah.
Killer.
Literally.
Literally. Bro, I used to Oh, Call of Duty. I used to watch my brother play Call of Duty, and I'd be like, "Hey, shot, shot, one kill."
Gamer baddie.
If you can't do one shot, you suck. You're lame.
Don't talk to me. Oh my goodness, you're hilarious.
Yes, like I don't think I ever will understand like wanting to fight for your country and willing to die for your country. Like, what has the country? I mean, it's done a lot for them, but like, what has the country done for you?
Yeah,
you know.
I also feel that same kind of way, and just like,
this is a perfect time to be talking about this.
Like, with everything that's going on right now, and just like, yeah, seeing us in situations like that, it's like, dang, why? And then it also makes me think about the recruitment process. Like, back when I was still working at the hotel, there was this time period where like these army recruiters, they literally came, a bunch of them came to stay at the hotel, and they just had a bus and a shuttle shuttling them around the city so that they could walk around and walk up to random people that they see and ask them to join the army. And so like, they're putting themselves specifically into like black neighborhoods and like neighborhoods that don't really have a lot of financial. Exactly. And then they give them this promise of like, you can get money, you can get education, you can do this, that, and the third. Like, all you gotta do is sign this paper, sign your life over to us. And it's just like, they also give them all this PTSD, and like,
they don't even care about them afterwards.
Exactly. Like,
that's what I don't. Oh my, we should not be talking about this. This is off topic. Let me stop. But also, like, we have to keep in mind during this time too, like all the propaganda that your hairstyle that you see, like during wars, especially wars are amazing for the economy and the government's eyes.
Like I literally talked about that because, like, jumping ahead, when they were throwing tomatoes at him on the stage, I'm just like, boy, you guys are just now coming out of a Great Depression. Like, this, like, World War II is the reason why America came out of that Great Depression, because money, money, money. Oh, Timmy's doing his part, shuffling through and like getting scraps, and like people are getting jobs. Like, you have to make weapons. You have to, like,
whoever the heck,
Uncle Sam. Yeah, we want you, and whatever, Shawty, we can do it, girls. Like, just lots of propaganda. Just,
that's how they get you.
Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss.
Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. Crazy. And like, from the perspective of smaller countries, stuff like that, I don't remember I don't know if it was fiction or not, but I was watching this show, and this person was, or it doesn't matter. This person was talking about wanting to go back and fight for their country. This was like a either second world or third world country because of everything that's going on, and I understood that. Like, I understood wanting to help your people and fight for your country. I guess I understand with World War II, like fighting the Nazis and like stopping the Nazis and yada yada yada. I feel like from Hydra's perspective, like those soldiers and like willing to die for this man who doesn't give a rat's a about you is insane. Like,
yeah, what? Like, where is the loyalty coming in at?
Like, they're just drones.
Yeah. And, you know, I feel like this is a great example of NPCs.
They're not real.
Like, you just can't be real. Like,
I guess that's the whole point, though, of like, of Smith and like Hitler, like follower. Like, it's a cult. Like, you don't have your own thought process.
And it's like a lot. I remember with being in AP World History and like learning how, you know, like thinking about the perspective of where Germany was right before World War II. Like, World War I basically got blamed on them, and just like they were in a bad position, a bad place, and like this man comes out of nowhere talking about all this power, and like a character says this. I think it was Dr. Z. That's what I called him in my notes the whole time. But like the scientist who we see who's eating the steak, who gets captured and like
him. Small scientist,
yes, small scientist is saying this, like, you know, they're getting, or the scientist that helped Steve get the serum, one of the two. But Hitler comes out of nowhere talking all this big game, just like, we're gonna do this, that, and the third. Like, we not know broke bees, we finna get up, like, we finna get back. And it's just, yeah, like, you see what he's doing to people who aren't on bandwagon. So like you're following by fear and like by this false idea that the country's gonna be better. And like when you see things starting to hit the fan, it's just like, but if I go back on my country, then I might get. And who's gonna take me? Like I'm German, and like they associated me with this man now. So if I'm going anywhere, like they're gonna be like Nazi. Yeah, I'm like
the whole concept of the Nazis makes no sense to me. Like it, like I don't understand people. This is so off topic. I don't understand people who are racist and like who are like religion-ish or whatever too, like not wanting the Jews and like only wanting blonde, blue-eyed people. Like, was Hitler even blonde himself? Like when I saw that Smith was a part of like Hitler and the Nazis, I was like, this man is a blonde. This man is a brunette. Like, why are you fighting for this pure human being when you're not this pure human per se? So pure human being.
It's really curious that you say that, because when the Nazi soldiers are, they're coming back to Hydra, they're like, you guys haven't produced anything in a year, like what's going on? They do like mention that, they do like make a snag at like, you didn't fit the cosmetics, but like you smart enough to have good graces, so like you were afforded this grace, and now like what are you doing with it? You're playing in our face, you playing in Hitler's face, like he already don't like how you look, don't make him kill you, you better start using your brain type stuff.
Okay. Let's get off this political road. Another small little director's note, there's like a tent like the whole movie when they're like back in time, like there's old timey tent on the film that I noticed, because when I was looking at the uniforms, and I'm like, okay, these uniforms are green, right? They don't look green, like they're like a off shade, like
like they have this grayish kind of tint, like
yes,
honestly, like if like this unsaturated like film just is new on the streets, like movies
19 whatever film,
exactly, so they're like trying to put us in that vibe, give us that aesthetic, because as we can see when in the end scene credit, like the colors are much more vibrant. So yeah, they definitely desaturated this film to give us that old timey feeling, put us in the shoes of the peeps.
Okay, so when Bucky is talking to Steve and he's like, yo, like you're gonna get in trouble, like for lying, stuff like that. Lying for what? To fight for your country and getting in trouble makes no sense to me. Like, why am I getting in trouble? Because I want to go to war. Don't you want me to go to war?
And it's like yeah, that's really confusing. Just, this country is built off a lot of like conflicting and Hippocratic situations.
Yes.
So yeah, and bro, that man was scared. He was like, "Yeah, stay right here." He got off. He started putting his shoes back on. He's like, "Yeah, I'm out of here. I'm in the wrong place." Go dancing. And then here comes the doctor. He's like, "Oh, I'm caught. They done
got me."
So where are you really from? See about that.
I'm never gonna see my buck again.
I'm going to jail. All I wanted to do was fight. But another thing into like why do people want to fight for their country? Steve in particular, like wanting to fight so badly. Like both his parents did. Like they both died trying to advance
fight for the country.
Yeah, like defend the country in the ways that they could. And so yeah, with like once again that strong father figure, like Ty, even though both your parents did, my daddy was in the 107 fighting for this country. I'm trying to get us to the 107 because my daddy was.
Bucky was like the 107. Like, the 107.
I should be there.
I should be by your side, baby. Stop.
Not the baby.
They lovers in another life. Come on. Anyways. Okay. So I was watching the movie. I was curious if the misogyny and racism in here was intentional. because when you see the first scene when we see Peggy, when we see the soldier talking back to her, and yeah, like he's flirting with her. And
I think that was on purpose.
Winking at her and whatever, and then when they're running and stuff, he's like, come on, ladies, like pick it up, like you're running like girls. And even Peggy like makes a comment like that when they're doing push-up or something. She's like, come on, ladies, like,
yeah, bro,
get it up.
She said, my grandma has more life in her, God rest her soul.
Yeah,
but like that was kind of hilarious because your grandma dead and she said that she got more life in her than y'all doing push-ups right now.
Yeah, so I'm curious if it was intentional, because with the times, Peggy being on this base in general is a marvel.
Like I was literally, they just threw that in there like that was nothing. Like, not only is she a woman, but she is from somewhere that's not America. And so it's just
I feel like that helped though. Well, made it better.
Yeah. But just like still.
But yeah, during this time, they're supposed to be on stage dancing, or they're supposed to be back home. I will say though, during this time is when women were able to actually work, because their men was out at war, so someone has to pay the bills.
Somebody gotta put
they were in the factories making the bullets, or making some shaft, or etc.
Some shaft.
I don't know what they need for the military. But like
shafts and bullets, baby.
During wars, when everyone went to work.
Yeah.
Black people were at work. We were always at work. But like we were in the factories too. We were on the field too. We had to have our own division. But like, so yeah, it just made me curious.
But what racism things did you?
Yes. There was only one. When Steve rescued them, and the white guy was like, "We just taking everybody now."
Oh yeah, and I thought you were talking about racist towards black people, but yeah, no, I noticed that.
Yeah, and he's like, "I'm from Fresno, bro," and like at the time, Japan was with Hitler; they were allies, so the comment makes sense. So I'm like, was it intentional, or are you just being racist?
Also, where is Fresno?
California.
Oh, okay. It sounds like a California.
Basically, place. Yeah, I'm American. Like, right. I'm not
yes.
Japanese. I'm not a Nazi.
I understood that when he said from Fresno, and like the way that he said it, I'm like, okay, so obviously this is somewhere in America. But I'm like, what is this, like Indiana or something?
And then also at the times, like, people like to forget America had Japanese camps. Just like how Hitler had Jewish camps. So it would, like, the comment makes sense for the times, like I feel like it ties to history. If it was intentional, it ties the history in to everything.
I feel like with all the little things that they were doing in here, definitely was intentional. Also, when they had the montage of Steve like doing stuff, and he was making his little movies or whatever, his crew was like the same crew that he got IRL in the show.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I don't remember if there was a Asian man in the acting, situation. However, there was a group of white men and then one black guy. And
always.
Always. I'm like, is this like, just because of what they do, or is it because of foreshadowing, or was it just,
both?
A little bit of both.
Yeah,
I'm thinking a little bit of both.
Steve doesn't get his supporting black guy until the next movie. So you gotta add the black person in there.
Gotta add him. Gotta need him somewhere.
All right. Speaking of, there's a few future references that I feel like people should notice too. One that involves a lot of the movie, but also we see, I feel like later too, not necessarily a saying, but like he cut off one head to grow in its place. Just, remember that. Good becomes great, bad becomes worse.
Yes. Oh, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, you're just gonna have to wait a while for that one, but it comes back around.
But I feel like Cap kind of gets, his Spider-Man quote. When the doctor is talking to him before they do the procedure, he's like, promise to stay a good man and not a perfect soldier. And like that's something that Steve honestly carries with him. He, like, later on in Civil War, when we see that there's a conflict going on, he decides to stay true to himself and true to his heart instead of trying to be the perfect soldier and like okay, let me just do what they say.
Mm-hmm.
Even in this movie, when, Sergeant's like, yeah, blah, 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 whatever. And Steve's like, yeah, I don't give up about what you're talking about. I'm about to go do what I think is right.
But also, his bestie was over there.
Exactly what he think is right. Stand up for
stick with his mans.
Not the man.
Just kidding. And then when Steve picks a shield, and Howard's like, "Yep, that's all of her
vibranium.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Vibranium that we got. Keep that in mind as well." All right. Back to the movie.
Did you touch on the vibranium thing at all again? Mm-hmm. Okay, then taking a second here. That makes me wonder, like, did they get the shield already built when they got all this vibranium from?
I don't think so.
Like, so
vibranium doesn't come.
And it's like, hear me out. These are my questions. Did he steal the shield? Like, was the shield stolen from, the Wakandans? And it's like, that is a possibility that, they raided them and took some of their armor. And then, 2, if it's not, and that was just raw vibranium, how did they get all that raw vibranium? This is a little bit of a spoiler from Wakanda, but like that spy.
They talk about it in Black Panther.
Yeah. So I said Wakanda. From Black Panther.
They tell us in either in the first one or in the second one, but they tell us.
I think it's the first one. But yeah, like I know that they had someone, doing things.
Yeah, Mr. Killmonger? Is that correct? Cousin.
I know it's cuz Uncle them, but I thought Uncle them went to go investigate. No, Uncle them was doing the perpetrating because he's like, look at all these black folk around. We not helping. Nah, shit.
If you don't keep that in, I'm gonna be really upset. What the hell? No, Michael B. Jordan is the one who tells us, like, well, did you know, blah, blah, blue, blah, blah. So, yeah, it gets explained later on.
I thought Unc was, okay, right. Something do happen with Unc. That's Unc! It is! Because if that's cuz gotta come from Unc. Oh, that's it.
You're hilarious, bro. Anyways, I feel like I noticed, I don't know if this is like a hero thing or maybe it's just a Marvel thing, but like whenever someone has like a serum injected or procedure injected, like it's that wide-eyed zoom in camera shot, like when it goes in, like Cap has it, Hulk gets it, the Goblin had it.
Because something is going into their bloodstream and changing their chemistry. They're like, oh, snaps. Oh, my goodness. They probably feel high. Like, I wonder if, like, they're thinking, is this what crack feels like?
No, they're thinking this is what power feels like.
Or pain, too. It could be pain and power.
Pain and power.
And power and pain.
Pain and the power. Anyways. Okay. So, I don't know his name. But after the scientist guy who invented the serum, like once he died, I feel like there's not a lot of emphasis on his character, which doesn't make any sense to me because a lot of the MCU is built around wanting to recreate that serum. And the only person whoever did it correctly for a long time was him. So I feel like they just skimmed over him as a scientist, which I feel like might be intentional,
right? Because he wasn't American.
Yes, but what I was gonna say is to show like how the scientists and like what they do don't really matter. It's like what they produce that matters. Like the emphasis was on Captain America. Like, oh my god, like he was this important species and subject that was perfect, and like this is what matters, not like Frankenstein and his monster.
No, literally. Frankenstein's not the name of the monster?
Frankenstein's the scientist. Yeah, I didn't read that book either.
Right, we both have missed. Yeah.
Hey, girl. Okay. I don't know if I was just tripping, but I feel like I noticed a small little voice change from Tiny Steve to Cap.
You know, I feel like it was the opposite for me. Like, I was just like, dang, his voice is pretty deep for his size. Like, that's
really
very interesting. Yeah, like, because when I first heard his voice, I was like, wow. Like, that was literally the first thing, like, my first note on this page. I was like, dang, voice is very deep compared to appearance. Like, he was like, yeah, that's me. I got this big Adam's apple.
Well,
or whatever is making the voice deep.
Fun fact, Steve is 25 at the beginning of the movie. He's 27 at the end. So he's not that old. Like, he's not like Tony, who's 30 something. Like, he's still quite young.
But that's crazy that, like, he's 25 and that's how small he is. Like,
I know. Like, like
he
when you think about it,
he wasn't like going to the gym or nothing. Like, even though you short, like, you could have some muscle, but this is a depression. You know, they don't got no food. Yes, how he gonna be able to sustain them gains?
This is a depression. Both his parents died. Like
and maybe we don't know how long ago his parents died.
Yeah, maybe he had to like focus on working and like paying the bills and stuff.
Yeah, we don't ever like get any information of like what Steve was doing.
We can talk about it now, but like one of my questions was, does Steve have dead parent issues? Like similar to how all the other characters have? Yeah. And I like part of it, like I want to say yes, but like not like the other people, which I feel like plays into why whatever the heck you were just saying. Why? What were you just saying?
He was skinny.
No. Why he's like why what? I don't remember. Why he's like okay. You know? Yeah. Oh, why they don't talk about his parents. Like why they don't bring it up, because his parents, the only thing I think they affected was him wanting to be in the military. Yeah. After that, I feel like all like his characteristics don't revolve around his parents.
Because I think that it's that they were there for his
adolescence,
like, development. Yeah, like if he was 25 at the start of this movie and his father fought in the 107th and his mom died at the tuberculosis ward, like I'm guessing. Like I don't know how the military numbers work, but like is the 107th recycled from every single one, or is just like the 107th is specific to this war? And if it is, then that means like they was there when his prefrontal cortex got developed. That's what happens at 25. And like even if it wasn't at that point, it was somewhere pretty close to where like the only dead parent problems that he would have would be like missing his parents.
Like, yeah, I don't think it's that fresh because I feel like he would have been like sad and crying and whatnot. How long ago was World War One from World War Two?
Let's find out.
Because that's the only other war I can think of before two, or maybe there was like a small war in between. Oh, it also depends on how far in they are in World War Two.
So they said that this movie took place in 1942.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see.
We fact check around here.
Mm-hmm.
Only sometimes.
Only sometimes. A lot of it is just right out the wazoo.
Mm-hmm.
So it was from 1914 to 1918 for World War One.
Oh, that's 30 years. That's too much time.
Yeah. And for World War II, started in 39, ended in 45. So yeah,
they could have died during that war.
Yeah, could have died during that war because during the like Steve was not even born yet, or like maybe like probably been born at the end, closer to the end of that. But nonetheless, wouldn't have been alive long enough to be like, dang, my daddy died in this specific platoon and I really want to be at that. So definitely probably died in World War One, maybe closer to the beginning. And so he got this hyperfixation because like I was saying, like we don't know what Steve was doing before trying to get into the war. Like we don't ever see him going to work. Like, we just see him trying to get into the war. That's it. And then that's just what his whole life becomes.
I feel either I'm thinking of a movie in the future, or I feel like there's a scene deleted from this movie. I feel like there's a scene where Bucky is going to his apartment, like War Bucky is going to his apartment, and Steve is there. And, like, he's inviting him. I feel like they deleted a scene.
Possibly, because I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, and like he's inviting Steve in or something like that.
Wild.
Yeah, Disney likes to do that.
Play games with us.
Delete scenes.
Try to see how much of history can they erase without us noticing. Moving on, though.
Oh, going back to, I completely forgot. Going back to like history, them putting history and fiction together. I feel like an example of people who never do that is DC. Like, they make up cities. They make it like they make reality and fiction completely separate. But it's like inspired.
Exactly. Yeah, I was just about to say, because like obviously we know that Gotham is New York City. Like, obviously. But yeah, definitely reality inspired, but want to make it very clear that this is not reality, completely made up.
And like, is that their downfall? Is it not? We should maybe we should dedicate a whole episode about DC and why everything they do is wrong.
I think we should. But I do want to commend them for,
keep trying.
That's not what I was gonna say. But just like, they don't isolate their characters. Like, they don't pretend that other characters don't exist in their movies. Yeah. Like, we'll have this movie going on in New York, but it's like
Marvel,
there's like nowhere in sight when shit is hitting the fan.
10 heroes in New York,
and at any given time,
they all seem to be fighting people, and like everybody else don't hear about it. Like, Doctor Strange be minding his own business when Spider-Man is fighting goblins and ghouls and
like, are they not reading the news? Are they not tapped in? Like, what are you doing? You're not fighting any aliens right now. Look at what's going on in your community.
And then like, okay, if you focus on like, okay, like there's people who fight like the small battles, like the neighborhood stuff. Like, Spider-Man does neighborhood stuff.
Small bottoms.
When like you look at the Defender series, when it's like 4 of them and they're all like neighborhood heroes and stuff like that. So with Spider-Man, like, now they're intertwining it with Daredevil. But yeah, it's, bro, what? And then Kate. Spoiler, but like, Kate, whatever is going on in that film, and Spider-Man No Way Home is at the exact same time.
Like, what's going on?
How? What? Clinton's there, and it's like, what?
You don't care.
What? How are you not, like, doesn't make any sense to me. It wasn't a spoiler. I didn't spoil anything. But like, back on topic. Okay. Smith says this: magic is just science that we don't understand yet.
Yes, I thought that was a very good thing that they had mentioned, especially with like, and you had mentioned Doctor Strange and how we really get to play in that movie, like someone who is very science oriented, like switching and actually not switching but broadening their knowledge of quote unquote science. Yeah, I think I think like, honestly, that may be the basis of
did you just realize what I said?
Yeah. That may be the basis of Marvel itself, and like that's why they do such a intentional job of like weaving reality in with fiction, because it's like, yeah,
because this is like the first introduction of magic on Earth besides Thor. And I feel like Thor is not entirely magical. He's seen as a god. He's like extraterrestrial instead of like magical.
Which is a very interesting concept that like Like, are they really gods or are they just aliens?
They're not gods. They're
like,
just aliens.
Like, they're just aliens.
Yes. But like they're seen as gods to
a certain group of people.
Earth.
But it's like, also though, they're out of the realm of, like, they're out of that situation of constantly being worshipped. Like, they, oh my goodness, bro, they're literally aliens that came to Earth and they got worshipped.
Yeah.
Stop. That's hilarious.
Okay. Oh, I called him glasses scientist, not tiny scientist.
Glasses scientist.
But whenever we see him, he looks terrified. Like, he is scared of Smith.
Yes, he is.
And like, when he took his mask off for the first time, I was like, sir, why are you shocked? Like, did you not see the painting? Did you not see all the red right there? Like, that man is scared for his life. Which is so interesting when you watch Civil War. So we're still kind of in the beginning. But when, Steve has a serum and he's like, yeah, I'm not taking you to war. Like, I'm going to put you in a lab. Another guy's like, you don't hide a soldier in the lab.
They're like really, really selling him. Like, sold him so hard. And it's so sad because like Steve really thought that he was about to be going out and like trying to make a difference. And like, I guess he was in a certain kind of way, like all a scheme to get more money and like scheme to just, wars get money, but like
great for the economy.
And like playing into this, why Captain America? Like, why
the name?
Yeah, like they were just like who came? Like they didn't show him, like they didn't show him getting his name, like how they show
it was just given to,
else.
I think that was important.
Like he didn't choose to become Captain America.
I think that was intentional. Yes. But yeah, I wrote down like you didn't hide him in a lab, you hid him on stage. And like it's very clear in the beginning, Steve does not want to be like little Billy in his wagon. Like he doesn't want to help out with the war. He wants to be like on the field fighting in the war.
Yes.
And so before I say this, we also see in his, first of all, he's an artist.
No, literally
multi-talented.
Like, come on.
But we see in his sketchbook he drew like a circus monkey, which is like, okay, you feel like a circus monkey? Question mark. So it's very interesting. Like, why did he keep going? Like, he knew he never wanted to be like this side shadow person. So why at this point in the movie did he finally give up? You know?
I think that, well, like, are you saying give up on that whole idea of going out to the war? I think that like he threw himself into a situation, like volunteering for this and like getting the serum and stuff, and like honestly he might just be feeling a little lost and like feeling I'm just property now and like this is what like I have to do. And then he needs Peggy to come here and tell him like, hey, like you weren't meant just for this. Like I feel like in his head he was thinking like, oh dang, like I got this serum put in me and like this is what I was intended for, and so like I gotta keep going down this path and like helping in the ways that like I fought so hard to get to this spot, and so like I don't want to mess it up and just go back to being a buff nobody, really just helping out with that scrap metal so good now. And yeah, like Peggy lets him know you were meant for more than this, and he's like, he really took that to heart. It's like, okay, like I do have all these abilities, and like I have this
great power comes great responsibility.
Amen. Get into it.
He needed Uncle Ben. I also, while I was watching it, I felt, especially with the scene when he was taking pictures of the baby and whatnot, I felt like it was very similar to the president. Because a huge part of the role of the president is to show face. Like, the president is the face of the country. And I feel like a lot of people forget that we live in a government with checks and balances. Like, the president is not the only person making all these laws and, like, making everything change. Like, there's so many levels to what the government is. But the president is the face. Like, he or she is the person that you see the person that has to like be this perfect image of what America is. Yeah. And I feel like Captain America in this scene is a representation of that. Like he's this perfect image of like what the war is and like what joining the war is, or like giving the money to America for the war is. Like he has to be this perfect figure. He's the face of the war. Yeah. And then we all see like the soldiers who see through that, and they're like we're out here fighting people. You're hitting a fake Hitler, like
bro. And what is so crazy, they did something so symbolic where when he's storming off the stage after that situation, like there's a clip of the showgirls going up the stairs and him going down the stairs, and like they literally show him in his show boots and the girls in their heels, and like he has a little heel on his boot too. Mm-hmm. And it's like, dang. And then the next clip is literally him sketching out the monkey. And I wanted to say that like he sketches a train as well, which is kind of like foreshadowing into Bucky's death. And whoa. Mm-hmm. And there was some little like trivia that popped up when I paused it on this section. And then apparently he had an alter ego as an artist since 1979 in the comics, which I thought was very crazy. And yeah, like he draws caricatures of himself in miniseries, and like it's just a known thing that Captain America is an artist and like sketches himself in different
That's
kind of ways.
That's how he pays the bills.
Maybe.
We found out.
That's so silly.
Speaking of the comics, the suit that he wears on stage is his suit from the comics. Little fun fact there. When the heck did Steve learn to fight?
Thank you, bro. Because
did he just get buff and magically learn how to fight? Like,
because in the little training situation that they were trying to pick who was the best, like they were just doing a physical test. Like they were trying to see how far they can run, how much they can climb, how this, that, and the third. When did he learn to fight? And then, yes, after, you know, he saves everybody and he comes back and he's in this suit. Like, is that just a regular soldier suit, or is that the suit of an actual captain? Like, they just branded him Captain America. He goes out there, gets lucky, comes back, and they're just like, okay, you're an official captain now. Like,
but isn't captain like for ships? Like, aren't you like a sergeant or something?
I don't know. And it's like also with Bucky, how long was he in the war before he would just be able to become a sergeant?
Like, Barnes was a sergeant?
Yes, that's Sergeant Barnes. Yeah, Sergeant Bucky Barnes.
Maybe he's just that good. Anyways, but yeah, like in the military, you learn how to shoot a gun. You don't learn how to fist fight. You don't learn how to punch someone. Like,
so honestly, maybe it wasn't that he couldn't fight all those times in the alley, but like he was just too weak for the punches to land, too weak and too slow. So like all those times getting beat up, he learned something. He learned something. And now that he is heavy enough and tall enough to land those punches, he's like, Mika. But like, yes, where did he learn strategy? Like where did he learn like how to, like, he really has to be a natural born leader, because like where he had no leadership experience, like he was in no situation for someone to just be listening to him just because, like, so yeah, I thought that was really interesting as well, that he just kind of gets christened in as and bro, he has always had a sense of humor like in the heat of battle, and I thought that was really interesting to see in this moment, because like I never noticed that before until like later on in the movies, where he starts having rapport with other characters during battle. And so like seeing
your mother with that mouth.
And like in this movie they're like, oh, you know, who are you, how you know what you know, and like, you know, what's going on. He's like, oh, I've punched Adolf Hitler only over 100 times. It's like, that was funny. And then Bucky sees him. He's like, what happened to you? I joined the army. Like, he got jokes. And I'm like, oh, okay, I see you, Cap.
Yeah, it's like, you got taller. Speaking of, I found it so interesting, like how you're talking about how he's a born leader, because he only had a small group of people to recover all those cities. Like, how the heck did y'all group of what, 6?
Crack.
recover all those cities of these what they call these Hydra armies. Like, that's crazy.
And also though, like, it's so crazy that this is the only military group that's like focused on this. Like, all the other military groups are focused on attacking Hitler and this, that, and the third. Yeah, they're the only ones that's like, yeah, we need to bring down Hydra, and like that's how we're gonna bring Hitler down.
I feel like once it became this mythical thing, the government wanted to hide it. And so that's where the whole like secret division came from, and then that's where like SHIELD and everything,
right? Because like they were the one, you know, messing around with the serums and things of that nature. And honestly, bro, this is just glorified steroids. He just hyped this man up on steroids, had him working out, and that's how he got all big and buff. Like, he's a junkie, and they
don't do my man like that.
They want to talk about Captain America.
Stop it,
Captain Junkie.
Stop. Sergeant Stan, you know, in that little meeting where Captain America didn't show up for his press release, just like a president. Did I already say how James is a flirt?
No, we were talking about Howard.
Oh, Mr. James Barnes is a flirt. When Peggy walked in that red dress, Mans was looking her up and down, like,
like, come on,
like, we can go dancing right now.
What you waiting for? The right partner, and it's like didn't even look at him,
didn't even glance.
Like,
he's like, "Am I invisible now? Like you get taller? Yeah, you get taller. What the heck?"
See, he had a chance because even though Steve was blonde, you know, light eyes, this, that, and the third, he was short. He wasn't buff, and now he got the same invisible. Bucky, you just a brunette. Ain't nothing to these girls now.
Nothing to Hitler now.
There ain't nothing to Hitler. Hitler actually taking too many eyes at you. He's like, yeah, this one right here, get him out of here.
Also, does Steve just have a photographic memory? Like, when he literally just glanced at that map, he knew exactly where the spot.
I could get. Thanks, Steve. Like, what?
What?
So yeah, I'm curious as to like what all did the serum do for him? Like, did it give him?
It made good grade.
Like, you're right, and like also, is he smart? Like, did he go to school? Like,
I feel like this all ties into when his parents died. Because possibly. Like, if he was out here being an orphan, living in Brooklyn, he ain't go to school. He went to work.
Working 9 to 9.
9 to 9. Okay, so we see that he discovered Bucky in the room, meaning that
Bucky was already getting that.
Bucky was already experimented on.
Bucky the junkie.
And then, boom, bam, bam. We never see Bucky again. He fall off that train, dead.
Well, yeah, that just like, so when Steve asked where Bucky was, and I didn't catch where they said Bucky was, but like based off that, I already knew. I'm like, they're testing on him, like they're doing something to Bucky. And then we see him laying down and like chanting and stuff. This is foreshadowing to like,
yeah, he was like saying numbers and stuff.
Yeah, he was chanting something, and it's just like,
we already see this play in motion. We see this cut off one head, two grows in its place, like very like box left open type of thing. And I feel like maybe that ties into why they have such a small group for recovering these cities. Like, when did Bucky's serum take place?
No, literally, that's what I want to know. I'm like, was he aware of what was going on with him? And it's like, if he was aware of what was going on with him, like, was he really able to use his powers? Because like we could see on the train where Cap was able to hold his shield and like take the blast from the tesseract gun, but when Bucky took the shield,
he flew.
Exactly. So it's like, is his like,
But like, we also don't know
like what's going on with him.
We also don't know, like, because this serum is not
the same
serum, so we don't know what it affects, and we know in like the other movies he's not like a super soldier. Like, he doesn't get like the same strength that Captain America does. He doesn't like buff up, like he doesn't, his physical form doesn't change. Okay, the only thing that he gets, I'm trying to spoil anything. The only thing he gets is the arm. Like he
is definitely stronger. Like he is stronger. He may not, his physical appearance may not have changed, and that's where I think like Steve is really, one of one, because like his physical appearance changed because like he was so scrawny, he was so small. Like I feel like the serum helps you just like.
Did they inject him with the serum, or did they inject him with the Infinity Stone? Because the serum never got to Smith. That vial,
right? So
maybe he's not a super soldier. Maybe they used the tesseract.
Possibly. We don't know. Like, they don't ever tell us what is going on with Bucky. They do kind of talk about, super serum and super soldiers and like other soldiers getting that too in the Winter Soldier, and
yeah, or maybe they made their own serum.
Yeah, like based off of Schmitz's blood.
The thing with blue, that's what making me think that they use the tesseract.
But the thing was blue for Steve as well. His serum was blue.
Okay, maybe I'm tripping. I feel like that's a theory that we could tap into, though, because that would make sense, the differences between the both. Because like good makes great, bad, whatever, whatnot. But like that didn't happen to Bucky. Like clearly he doesn't have the same serum that Smith and Steve have, because his persona, like after he got out of the Winter Soldier, like when we see him normal, his personality didn't change because of the serum. It changed because of what he remembered and what he did.
Yeah. And like that makes me curious, because like there were so many factors that went into him becoming Winter Soldier. Like there was mind manipulation, like isolation, and just like shutting off actual parts of his brain. Because like other Captain America man, his physical appearance didn't change either. So like I feel like it changed with Steve because he was not a muscular person. Like they were already muscular.
Well, do we see people? Oh, right, yeah. I was like, do we see him after the serum? But yeah, we do. I forgot he didn't have it right away. They just gave him the title. Here you go, you're Captain America. No. Okay, something that they didn't get into, like a small little note, when Glass's tiny little scientist went to the investigation room, there was blood on the floor. He noticed the blood, he looked up, and that was it.
I feel like that was just, setting the scene, like helping like us get into like where his mind may be. Like, okay, there's blood on the floor, so obviously they put people's lives in danger. Like they hurt them, they make them bleed in this room. So like I feel like that helped him jump to the conclusion when man sat down, was like, are you gonna torture me? Like what's happening here? So I feel like that was just setting the scene.
Yeah. Okay. And then I didn't know he was the Red Skull until you told me. Like whenever, I don't know, this was a while ago.
He is credited as Red Skull.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. When I was watching Infinity War, I was like, who is this man? He was just a regular mystery man up on his space. Like that's when he was born and that's when he died.
And so that,
which is also interesting, that one, like, it shows how like the stones are connected too. Like one stone sent you to another one,
and it's like, it intrigues me though, because like, is it the stone that sent him, or is it Odin that sent him? and hear me out, I only feel like it could be Odin because the thing that took him looked like the Bifrost. And like he had, like he talking all this mess, being one with the gods, this, that, and the third, but he had never touched the tesseract with his bare hands, and once he put it in his bare hands, gone.
So do you think that Mr. Homeboy with the sword was like, yo, Odin, man, come check this out?
Like, because Odin is all-seeing, all-knowing.
But like we were just talking about how like they're not gods though. So like, do you think at that point Odin was trying to act like a god? Like, do you think he gave up that role, or like did he ever actually act like a god towards Earthlings, or did they just like, you know what I mean? Like Thor.
That's a really good point.
At the end, I feel like at the end of his movie, made it his mission to protect Earth because Jane was there and like he grew to love it. Yeah. But I feel like beforehand, their focus was keeping peace, but it wasn't to protect Earth.
Yeah, and like if it was Odin, I don't think that it would be in like a protect Earth kind of way, but more so like punishing this person for like trying to feel like the likes of me.
But does he have that much power to like condemn someone to it? I guess how would he leave? Never mind. I was just thinking like, okay, like he got there, maybe he can just head back home.
But then it is like,
oh, I can't wait till we get to that movie. Oh my god, that movie pisses me off.
Which movie?
Infinity or Endgame or whichever.
Right. Yeah. That's gonna be like a 3-hour episode.
No. Just do separate parts. 2-part episode.
No, literally. But that goes, like what you said makes sense as well. Like perhaps it's the stones being interconnected with each other and the stones punishing him because like, yeah, literally took you from Earth and sent you somewhere else. And honestly, that part literally went over my head the first time I saw this. Like, I don't remember the sky opening up to space. And
I just thought like he died or something. I was like, oh,
bro. And the fact that like no one ever talks about this with Steve. Like, there is no, hey, where did Schmidt go? Like, they did not find his body there.
But
like,
I think because they were on the ship. Yeah. I think the people who would have asked him about it are dead now. Like 70 years has passed. Like they don't care about Smith anymore. Like
they just care that he
Smith didn't come back. So you know,
that's all. You're right. You're right.
They probably think he dead, just like they thought Cap was dead. Like, but didn't he also say? No, he said on the speaker when he was talking to Peggy, like Smith is dead, like he's gone.
Oh. Yeah.
So on their record books, they were like, okay,
he did.
Check mark.
And then like also, yeah, like Steve was so cool about that. Like, oh yeah, the sky just opened up and took this man. Like he
was cool about too many things. Like he watched the tesseract float down into the ocean, didn't say a word, didn't like
he probably didn't even know what that was. He just like, I don't get paid enough for that. Like, I don't get paid enough for whatever just happened to him.
Right there. Not my job.
Like, I'm trying to worry about New York. My home is not about to blow up right now. And like, bro, I was thinking, I'm like, I feel like Captain America would be disappointed in America. Like, not even gonna lie.
1000%.
Like, if Captain America was out of the ice, like for Vietnam, 9/11, like all
Civil War,
this like American Civil War.
Oh, not Civil War. What the heck is that called?
I was like, wait,
Civil rights. I'm like, wait a minute.
Civil War. Tell me something I don't know.
Civil rights. Yeah.
Like, yeah, definitely.
Because Steve definitely gives American. He gives purebred, I love my country, I fight for my country, but he doesn't give like conservative. Like he's not gonna call you the N-word, but like he's still gonna hang out with like his white friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because like, as we can see, there was no discrimination like against like, and no side eye, no nothing. Like, I don't know if this was just because you can't just do that in the movie world, but like they get away with things. So it's like, I feel like that is a part of his character, that he didn't side eye the black soldiers. He didn't side eye what's his name? Because Fury.
I feel like he's like the definition of like a true like, so like when people talk about like this pure soldier, whatever, like he's the definition of it. Like, we're both fighting for the same thing. Our blood still runs red. Like, you're my brother. We're in this together. And I feel like him and Bucky, when they come back, I thought you were raising your hand. Him and Bucky, okay. I was like, am I in frame?
Yes, you are.
Him and Bucky, when they come back to like reality, I feel like their brain is very much, I don't see color. In a sense, instead of like I'm racist or like I'm anti-racist. It's like they're just like you're a person. We're friends. Like, so like, I was frozen for 100 years. Like, I ain't got time for this.
I done had enough time to think about stuff.
Like, I don't care that you're black, bro. Like, it is what it is.
Just pass.
But he's not gonna be like, he's not gonna volunteer for the protest. But if you ask him to go, he'll go with you. You know what I mean? Like, he's not gonna hit you up like, yo, like, there's this BLM protest, like, let's go to it.
Yeah.
But like, he'll drive you there if you ask.
He'll drop you off. I'll pick you back up when you get done.
Yeah.
You're so silly. But no, like, that's what I was saying earlier about, like, he is this poster child for all the good that America is supposed to represent. Like, if America was the goodness without the hypocrisy,
Captain
America is their love child.
Yeah.
Literally.
Okay. Back to the movie. 1, he was so calm about that ship going down. Like, he
wasn't
die.
Wait, I take it back. Like, nothing.
When should we have this dance, Peggy? I'll be there.
But like, just this whole movie is like literally Captain America, the first Avenger. Like, this is why Cap is who he is, and like why he gets the respect that he does. Because it's like, look at what he did. Look at how he took that to the chin, and
I didn't know you did that on purpose.
Are you okay? No, like, he ate it and just was like, this is it. This is what it is.
2, I'm very curious how long they look for him, because like when we see Howard and they found the tesseract, he's like, no, like, keep looking. No, so did they continuously look for 70 years? Did they look until Howard died? Like, how long were they looking for Captain America? And also,
they didn't find him.
Yeah, we also know he definitely impacted Tony's childhood.
For sure.
Like, he brings up how Howard talked about Captain America or what. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is very, like, telling into when their relationship comes about. And it's like, Tony already has this underlying animosity towards Steve because
of his daddy issues.
Yeah. And like, Steve's like,
I don't even know you.
My parents raised me. I don't know what your problem is. So
I had both my parents. So, but that's crazy though, because Tony's parents died at what, 21?
And was absent for 20 of them. So
okay, and
like, another example, where was Mama? Where was Mom's? Like, what was her job? Like, she didn't need to work. Howard had that stuff covered. So where was Mama? What was Mama doing?
The only mom, the first mother figure that is important that we see,
Kate.
Aunt May.
No, mother figure. Okay.
Mother figure. And then Black Widow.
Oh. Black Panther.
Good one. Yeah, Black. But I feel like that ties into like Black culture too.
Because you know, I was like, dead daddy.
You know, Black woman. Like, she finna be president. The heck? I'm on my angel day now.
Like, double.
Don't play. Anyways, the logistics of him being frozen for 70 years and how they unfroze him. Because if we're thinking scientifically, unfreezing someone is a very prestigious process. Like if you
can't just put him in a bowl of hot water and
like your nerves and stuff like you could die.
No, literally. And just like I was just talking to one of our friends about this, but like when you're cold and then you put your hands underneath warm water,
you're not supposed to do that.
No, like I've done it before, and like my hand literally swole up because like the blood vessels are doing whatever the blood vessels do. So like he could literally swole and pop like a gusher.
I mean, he also has the serum, which plays into why he was able to freeze for that long. But I feel like they don't talk about it. Like they don't even have like a scientist talk about it. Like Tony bring it up or Banner bring it up.
My theory is that like he crashed into this ice and he went unconscious and like just really
knocked
the F out. And as he was knocked out, he just like his body got cold, and like since he was knocked out, his heartbeat was already slow, so the ice didn't necessarily kill him. And like just because he's a super soldier, that doesn't mean that he can't die. So like yeah, it is curious to see that he survived that. But guess save your leftovers in the freezer, they're gonna last.
I mean, yeah. And there's also
nothing.
It's also what they did to Bucky. Like they froze him to keep him around for that long.
I thought he was just alive.
No, they froze him in between. So that's why he didn't age. That's why they're like, oh, he's 100 years old too. Because I think there was this long period where they didn't use him at all.
Very true. I'm excited to get into the rest of the
the Winter Soldier is like one of my favorites. So now Steve is frozen and he's unfrozen. They definitely did this on purpose. They definitely did this on purpose, but it was so stupid with the game. Like why don't you just use a game after he was frozen? Like was there no other baseball game ever again?
like they had to choose one from a year before the war.
Choose one from 1945.
He said, I was literally at the game. Like, literally, bro. You could have... if they really wanted him to keep him under covers, like, you could have, sold, like, oh, yeah, you was just asleep for a little bit. Like, everything is fine. Like, even if they played one from that year, like, I just don't understand why.
Doesn't make sense, bro.
They obviously didn't pay the scene director enough. Like, not like the IRL one, but the SHIELD one. Didn't pay them enough to care.
And I feel like this scene was so dramatic for how calm he was at the end. Like, he was like, we didn't want to shock, yada yada. He's like, are you okay? He's like, yeah, we just had a date. Like, he didn't care. Like, he was in a different time period, or there's billions of cars that don't look like the cars he had, and there's like billboards up everywhere.
Technology and like electricity. And so like obviously he is a very calm, cool, and collected kind of person.
Nonchalant man.
Very much so.
Only nonchalant man that I like.
Because like he was possibly worried that he was in enemy territory and they were trying to, like do something to him. So he like, let me get away from here. But he realized he is safe and like he just needs to digest some information. He's like, dang, like baby girl gone. He's like, 70 years. All right.
Well, she's not gone.
Right.
Technically.
But she not no fly young thing no more. She old and crusty. He can't do nothing with that. He would snap her.
Her like niece is though. I feel like there's a lot of emphasis in later movies that they're like, yeah, like him and Bucky, we're 100 years old, but I feel like they forget mentally. At the end of the movie, he's 27. Mentally, he's still 27.
Yeah,
his body is still 27. Like, even though his birthday was a long time ago, he doesn't have the maturity of 100-year-old
man. He don't even have the maturity of a 35-year-old man. Like he's not even like got to the 40s. I need to have a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
And I feel like so sad for him as well, because like he's stuck in this like, dang, I do got old-timey views and like old-timey ways, and so I don't fit into this modern world, even though I am the age where like this modern world is built for this age group. And so he just like doesn't feel like he has a place.
And I feel like, yeah, people forget that too when it comes to him and like him being stuck on Peggy, and
because like they grew up with
all
him.
this other
like,
stuff.
They grew up knowing him and knowing he exists, and he grew up knowing the slums of Brooklyn.
Yeah, like I feel like he's probably younger than Coulson, and like no, he's never. No, see, I think the most he's done is kissed a girl.
No, obviously he is a virgin, like the oldest virgin alive.
Like when he's like meets Natasha and like all that other stuff, like he is very clearly a young man.
Yeah, like he was like, "Oh, this is the longest conversation I've ever had with a woman." Yes, obviously the only thing he's done is kissed a girl, and that was only until after he turned.
Yeah,
25.
I feel like the first girl he kissed was that blonde chick,
literally, and like maybe his mama.
Maybe his mama.
That's it.
And then the end scene credit was just a trailer for the Avengers movie
promo. Like really put them on. So and like that's also crazy to think about how that movie was 2012. Filmed. Like that movie was filmed, created, edited, everything by the time that Captain America came out. And like I was watching that thing with Samuel L. Jackson that a couple weeks ago, and like he was talking about how he signed this 12 movie contract with Avengers. He's like, dang, I didn't think that they was gonna do that in 2 years. He's like, I'm eating up my contract.
They filmed those in 2 years?
I don't remember if he said 2 years exactly, but like it was a short amount of time to film 12 movies. Like they were damn is right.
Once they like got that money from Iron Man, they were on it.
They said we got a lot of comics to catch up
which
on.
I like when like movies and shows do that. I feel like they don't do that as much now because like streaming and stuff ruined it. But like when people film like they're going to continue this. Like my favorite show is How I Met Your Mother, and it's 9 seasons long, and it all builds up to how he met the kid's mother. And like the they have these 2 kid actors in it, and they had to tell them who the mother was the first season because they filmed it all at once, so they didn't like age and stuff like that. So like they knew where the story was going like 9 years later. Like I like when people act like this is going to continue, because when they don't, it like ruins the movie. I feel like future things that like we should talk about like in future movies. I just want to say now because I'm gonna forget either way. You probably won't, but
we'll have footage.
We kind of touched on this a little bit, but like how we touched on this a lot. How Bucky changed before he died, like how he had whatever thing done to him before he died. So I feel like we should definitely go back to that once we watch Winter Soldier. Why Steve can't ever move on from Peggy. We talked about that too. But like another thing we can bring up after. Do we see it in one? Yeah, I think we do touch on it. Either Winter Soldier or Civil War. I feel like when he interacts with Natasha is when we like see some movement. And then Tony and Steve's relationship, which we peep in Avengers, but like we see full force in Civil War.
Yeah, and like just see it grow and elevate from there.
Anything else you would like to add? That is all my notes.
No, not for the actual plot. What do you rate her?
All right. Now, I am very biased.
Yes, we know. 6 Infinity Stones.
Yes. Captain America and Bucky Barnes were always like my favorite people on Earth. This movie was great. Like just rewatching it and seeing, like I said before, like all the details the director put into the movie and like how well put together it was. Only thing that was a miss was like the CGI just a little bit, but like that's just part of the time.
Like yeah, there was no cringy acting. Like I was hooked. Like this was the first movie where like I had to take notes and stuff, and I'm like, I had to take breaks. I'm like, dang, like I'm trying to watch that movie. Like I'm trying to get back to Captain America. So definitely would give her like 5.5.
I give her 6 Infinity Stones because she is the best ever, and I love Captain America. I love Chris Evans and Sebastian Stan. Unless they're problematic, please don't be problematic. I beg of you. But you never know with these white men.
You never be too safe.
Yep. Okay. What was the last movie you watched, and something you recommend?
The last movie that I was consciously paying attention to was Blitz, which was like literally a little bit before you got here. It's some movie with Jason, I don't know, that one bald guy, and he's from the UK. And yeah, there was a cop serial killer, and it was crazy. Yeah, it was killing cops. Wow. He wasn't the cop. He was a part of the cops that was getting killed, and he had to take the cop killer down. But yeah, very interesting. I would recommend for people to watch Wolverine, not X-Men Origin Stories Wolverine, but just the Wolverine movie that's after that. I just watched that recently too. That's a good movie. I liked it.
Last movie I watched and finished. There's a lot of things on my Netflix that I haven't finished.
Continue watching.
Was Blink Twice. That movie was amazing.
Wow, that's the last movie you finished.
I've been watching shows.
Sure. But yeah, Blink Twice was a really good movie. Definitely, I love a psychological thriller.
It was
really make you think.
Yes, and I love like when you're like towards the end, you're like, but what?
Connecting all the dots to the beginning of the movie, like, love that. That's
yes, so cool. And I wasn't gonna recommend that movie, but I'm reading a book right now, and I haven't finished it. But I feel like it's a great, like, fiction, but also like culturally aware thing. It's a book. You're a reader.
If you're a reader.
Even if you're not a reader. Ace of Spades. Go read that. It's like Gossip Girl and Pretty Little Liars put together.
Oh.
But like with black people.
Wow.
Or if you want something more like mythological, magical type and still culturally aware, I feel like it's important to like diversify yourself, especially if you're not a part of the culture. But it's called Legendborn, and that's a great like black power, like girl magic movie as well.
Beautiful
movie. It's a book. It is going to be, I don't know if it's going to be a series or a book or a movie, but they picked it up and they get in on it. So
that's really cool.
I know, I'm really excited.
That's lovely. Well, close her out.
Let me sit up.
So get serious for the girls.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Also, thank you for listening to our past episodes that might have been a little long and you watched all the way through. We really, really appreciate it. We are starting to post like some exclusive things on TikTok. We have an Agatha's Corner on our main TikTok account where we talk about the Agatha series instead of like making a podcast like this. So go check that out if you want to hear us talk about the series. Meadow also has Makeup Mondays with Meadow. Every Monday you get to see her makeup look. She has one right now. It will be live on TikTok as well.
You should have seen it yesterday because you're watching this episode on Tuesday, so we posted it right before this episode comes out.
Hence Makeup Monday with Meadow. Both of those TikToks will be linked in the description. I just saw a video of I want to say it was Glorilla and her accent, her Memphis accent. Anyways,
yeah, you a country girl.
I'm not.
I'm not country girl. Okay, girl.
Those will be linked down below, also with our Instagram and any other social media that we have. Follow us, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We post every other Tuesday. We would really appreciate it. Give us a like if you liked the video.
Please rate us on Spotify. There was also a poll on our last episode, so make sure you participate in that.
Yes.
I think the poll will be over.
It will. Yeah, but we might have a poll for this one.
So make sure you check it out.
And who doesn't like polls?
We'd love to know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Please share. All right. Fit checks. TikTok. Link below.
Yes. Comment down below what you thought of this movie.
Mm-hmm. Are you as biased as we are?
Are you Team Captain America or Team Iron Man?
Ooh. We'll have some spicy conversation when Civil War comes up.
Yeah. We will. We will indeed. That is all we have. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah.
And we will see you next time.
Adios.